things to.
May I be contrarian?
Of course.
So I don't think the C-suite matters. I think the consumer matters. I think bottom-up adoption matters.
Yeah.
And the fact is, you can't criminalize half of society. And people want better, faster, cheaper financial economy. And if stablecoins offer that, they will adopt them. So the question then becomes, do you want to become, as a central bank, a technology company competing with technology companies? Do you want to be Apple and Facebook-like when you're trying to develop that? Or should you, and it was actually the Bank of England research paper that said this, should you focus more on a framework approach in which entrepreneurs, the economy itself, can look to develop things that look like e-money, things that look like things we might even recognize in the economy today, so that our entrepreneurs and builders and the next generation can, within good guardrails, build better, faster, cheaper payments that are fairer and more transparent. Because if you've not actually used a stable coin, they seem very, very scary. But when you go ahead and use, okay, Tether is one thing, but USDC and some of the other stable coins out there that do have a regulatory wrapper around them, I mean, this thing costs almost nothing to send, and it gets there instantly and anywhere in the world.
Well, you've not mentioned the D word, though, have you?
DM from Facebook.
Yeah.
And I think, look, that's a very real fear for people, but actually that's also a distraction. Because the point here really is about solving society and consumers' problems. And we lose track of that sometimes. We focus on the C-suite and we focus on the trust word. But the word trust really, really is very, very different in the digital age. What does an 18 to a 25-year-old trust versus what does a 55 to 65-year-old trust are two fundamentally different things. And when we're building for the future, we have to consider that trust, the meaning of the word trust has changed for different generations.
So this is the Richard from Reading problem, the Brenda from Brighton problem. You know, what's the relevance of it in the context of what they do on a day-to-day basis, and what's the story that goes with that?
I think that's so crucial. And the reality is, for me anyway, that adoption always comes from the edges. So person on the street that has a day job that is more manual may not be the first adopter of this technology, and it may not seem obvious to them. But then what's the relevance of cloud to Brenda and Brighton? Well, actually, you end up using it all around you. You don't care how it works, it just does. I don't care that Netflix happens to use the cloud. It's just, I get my movies and they're instant. And 20 years ago, video on the internet seemed like a crazy idea. What does it matter to Brenda and Brighton? 20 years forward, it's everywhere, and it just happens to be the technology behind the scenes. We will head in a similar way.
Yeah, I think the idea of ubiquity is really critical. So most people, to say, don't really care about the gadgets inside the box. They care about something being usable. So Netflix bundles up a whole bunch of really cool, creative ideas, but what counts is what you can watch and if it's fun, and if it's better than getting a DVD from the local shop. So I think blockchain, in my view, will evolve in a similar way. There won't be a blockchain thing that people care about in the future. There'll be really cool things that are created that people will, Brenda or whoever, will relate to, that will contain elements of blockchain. It's just getting that, that one first killer play out. That's how the internals of blockchain will become much more mainstream.